Hello, everybody. This is Brian Lewis, SSAW, Reform Hooligans. We've had a bit of a scheduling conflict, so we haven't put out an episode for this week just yet. We're working on it. It's during the international break, too, so outside of the transfer window, there really hasn't been much going on, but I can cover that for you right here. And I'll talk about some of my thoughts from the transfer window. I'm going to, bounce around a couple of the leagues and kind of go over some of the under-the-radar moves, some of the moves that didn't happen, more so than anything, because I think we all know the moves that happened. I wanted to give a little talk about RB Leipzig, because the last couple of weeks on the podcast, the only thing that's been talked about with RB Leipzig is losing to Mainz and struggling against Wolfsburg to where they did not deserve to win that game. That's just that simple. They played like absolute bleh. But signing Mariba to go along with Andre Silva after losing Marcel Sabitzer to Bayern Munich, seems like the whole freaking team went to Bayern Munich. So that's a good move. I think Mariba has some high upside coming from Barcelona. Him and Emerson Royale were both kind of pushed out to kind of make up for the debt deficit that was built up by Josep Bartomeu, the former president at Barcelona. Now, a lot of Barca's bad business was already like foreshadowed. Never mind the fact that Griezmann ended up going to Atletico Madrid, that Pjanic is on his way to Turkey to go play for Besiktas. So just a bunch of bad business the whole way around. And now I'm almost like worried what's going to happen with Fati and Pedri and De Jong, because I mean those three guys, the age difference there, I mean Pedri's 18, Fati's 19, and De Jong I think is 23. So between those three guys, and you had to get rid of Todibo, you kept Umtiti, so they just have so much bad. And I mean, some of the players they have were just always overrated. Coutinho just never really panned out for Barcelona either. So it's just a whole disaster for Barca. And we'll talk about some of the moves that didn't get made. We'll start with Kylian Mbappe. I don't think he ever wanted a second contract with PSG. I think for Mbappe, the move was always to go to Madrid, play under Zidane. That won't happen now, obviously. But I think with Eden Hazard being such a flop at Madrid, this is opening up a territory where, it's going to probably end up being, whoever they decide to put as the Benzema replacement, which could be Haaland, but we'll get to Haaland in a second. Mbappe and Vinicius and Rodrigo, they have a bunch of talent up top. They have Renier, who's on loan at Dortmund. So Madrid are just going to continue to stack the deck. Their financial situation's a little bit different because of the Bernabeu renovation at the Bernabeu. So once that renovation's done and they have full crowds, I think they'll be okay. They're in much better shape than, say, Barcelona or Valencia are financially. So there's that. I like what Atletico Madrid did this window with Rodrigo de Paul. They're going to probably figure out what to do with Joao Felix this year, to be honest. They're going to have to figure out what he is for real. They spent a lot of money on him, but they got Griezmann back, so that's a good plus. And then you have Luis Suarez. So that's just... If Atleti don't win La Liga again, I'd be shocked. And this leads to Erling Haaland, over at Dortmund. So Dortmund's defense clearly is not good enough to win Bundesliga or even compete for Bundesliga. I think Bayern are going to win the league by 10 points. However, I could see a January move for Erling Haaland if Dortmund's season completely collapses. But that's still very unlikely. I mean, Bruno Fernandes moved in January because Sporting Lisbon were in 5th place at the time of his sale. They were in a debt crisis, or about to be. And if they didn't sell Bruno Fernandes before COVID started, Sporting CP would have been one of the clubs in looming disaster. Instead, they're in the Champions League for the first time in I don't even know how long, with a roster that has João Paulinho and other players on that squad that are really good. They just sold Nuno Mendes to PSG for a lump sum, I think, of 45 million euros. So if that's all being said, you're looking at Mbappe, and PSG should have wanted to sell him on. But I mean, the same thing with Dortmund, right? You can make 150 million euros, whatever. But I mean, Dortmund have made money on big sales before. They just made big money on Sancho. They made big money on Dembele. They made big money on Aubameyang. So no matter what, they've been able to bring in the cash. The money's not the problem. What they want is they want to make sure that they keep relations with Mino Raiola. And I think that's the reason that they are holding on to Erling Haaland for another summer. Because I really do believe that the agents in soccer, like George Mendes does at Wolves, he pulls a lot of strings there. Mino Raiola has a lot of bargaining power. He has a lot of clients. And Borussia Dortmund aren't going to want to lose out on future clients of Raiola's because of they want to score an extra 80 million euros in profit. So I get it. I think it's bad business from both Dortmund and PSG, clubs that, again, seem to always be in the forefront of teams that like people like and fun to watch, but they never seem to really translate that success into consistency. And another team that I'm going to move, a couple of guys, actually, a couple of individuals as well. So Bernardo Silva from Manchester City. So with Jack Grealish signing, I think that pretty much eliminates Bernardo Silva's need at Manchester City because, quite frankly, at the right wing, you're telling me you're going to play Bernardo Silva over Riyad Mahrez on that team with no pure striker, Ferran Torres. No, I think Silva is now, if not second, might even be third in the pecking order at right wing. And even if you were to play that kind of Mazzala midfielder, I would rather have Gundogan, De Bruyne, Phil Foden. I mean, even Jack Grealish can play that spot. So it's just really, Bernardo Silva was really good on those Monaco teams. And he joined Manchester City, not Real Madrid. He joined Manchester City. There was rumors about him to Barcelona if they were able to kind of figure out their situation. But because of the La Liga salary cap, I think he was prevented that move to Barcelona. So that's a whole different argument, the salary cap, and why I think it's a dumb idea to even issue a salary cap, because that doesn't solve anything. It just gives the bigger clubs less competition. And unless you allow new ownership, which those teams can block, it doesn't really do anything. So that's kind of my view. Xherdan Shaqiri joined Lyon, but as for Liverpool, and some of these other guys, like you have, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with guys like Oxlade-Chamberlain, Ross Barkley over at Chelsea. Now that they have all those guys, they didn't loan him out to Burnley or anything. So just quite a few guys out of that realm. But another one is Harry Kane. And Harry Kane is another one in the Premier League. It was rumored to Chelsea early on, rumored to Manchester City, Manchester United. I really think that Daniel Levy is trying to push for a foreign move for Harry Kane. But it's going to be really hard for him to keep Kane away from Manchester City at this point. I think City are building up for a Harry Kane move. Now, in my opinion, I think Nuno Santos a great hire. I think Levy should have sold Harry Kane as a way to kind of give Nuno the full backing, saying, hey, we'll go bring in a striker of your choice. They could have gone for Dusan Vlahovic from Fiorentina, who I think is a good idea of a striker in the Tottenham side of things. You could have easily pursued Andre Silva, perhaps, from Eintracht Frankfurt. He's had some success there. Maybe Luka Jovic on a loan. He kind of fits the Nuno profile. He does a little of the things that Jimenez does. Darwin Nunez from Benfica could have been an option there, dealing with their own corruption scandal right now. So you might have been able to get him. I mean, Waldschmidt head back to the Bundesliga. So that's one way. I don't know. I feel like there are options out there. Luis Muriel from Atalanta, Duvan Zapata. Probably weren't going to move from Atalanta. That's fine. Domenico Berardi is someone that they could have gone after instead of Brian Gill, in a sense. But in essence, I think if you keep Son at the number 10 role, even if Kane's not there, I think Son can fulfill that role. So for Harry Kane, is he going to move in January? I don't think so. I think if he moves, it's definitely going to have to be a summer move. And then for some of the other moves in Italy, I mean, Vlahovic didn't move. Locatelli going to Juve is kind of very unsuspenseful. No moves for Bernardeschi, who's going to be an expiring contract. Isco is an expiring contract at Real Madrid. James Rodriguez isn't going anywhere at Everton because he just sucks. So there's just a lot of guys that didn't get the moves that they wanted, and I wonder if the climate was for the reason of that. Because, a lot of the moves that teams made this summer were all moves that, with all the big names moved, these are all names that, I wonder if teams sold the names to kind of make sure that they could recoup some of the losses that they had. And there's still a lot of teams that are in pending disaster, and depending on any other further Delta stoppages, if you will, if there is another wave in the upcoming flu season, this could really impact a lot of clubs in the lower levels, which I don't think it'll trickle up to the higher levels. But if you're a guy that watches the Championship or even Ligue 2, Serie B, Bundesliga 2, the Segunda Liga, if you watch those leagues, those might be the teams that get decimated, absolutely decimated by any stoppage of play, any stop of business, really, because those people they have that are coming in by foot into the stadium, that's their income. They don't get the commercial income that some of the bigger clubs get. So on that note, guys, that's all I have for you today. Transfer window wrap up. We will be trying to record Reform Hooligans some point this weekend, maybe Sunday, maybe Monday. Stay tuned, ssaw.com. Peace.